Hi, I'm Dennis Tier, and Beverly and I have partnered with the Ancient of Days to bring to you the Secret Place game. We would like to show you in this presentation how we play the game. The topic of the Wilderness Tabernacle or Sanctuary is a vast topic, and that results in a game of substance. Before we actually start showing you, we'd like to bring to you some thoughts from Ephesians chapter 1. And that is, we will have the spirit of wisdom, revelation, knowledge, enlightenment, hope, that we will see the riches of His glory, of His inheritance for us. This time I'm going to show you how we set up the game. First, notice that the east camp is towards where the sun comes up where we are, and the reason for that is because that's how the Wilderness Tabernacle was orientated. There are a set of dice. There is a bag with casting lots on it. In the bag are gemstone playing pieces. There are also round corresponding playing pawns, we call them, that also represent 12 tribes. We have a deck of cards that are for the sanctuary. We have a deck of cards that have new moon on them. We also have a deck of cards, read festival cards, and they go in the festival card position. There's also a thank offering place, and we'll tell you more about that later. There's a booklet we call the instruction booklet, and we'll refer to this from time to time. At this point, I want to share with you how we start the game. And we're going to, for convenience and simplicity, just have 2 players. We cast lots, meaning we pull a gemstone out of the bag, and the first player pulls a gemstone out, and it's Naphtali. And so at the north camp there is the tribe of Naphtali. The second gemstone we pull out is the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin is on the west side, the west camp, and going with Benjamin, you'll see the sign of the wolf, and so the corresponding playing piece that goes around the outside of the board has that sign on it. Naphtali has a gazelle type animal on it, and we put those 2 playing pieces in that position, and these playing pieces start in these positions. The next thing we do is start the game. The oldest person goes first, and if we don't know who the oldest person is, we can refer to the order of birth on the back of the instruction booklet. And Naphtali is older than Benjamin, and so Naphtali goes first, and I will show you now how to move forward with the game. I take dice, roll the dice, and we have 8 spaces. We move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we land on a festival position. You'll notice at this time there are repeating spaces around the outside of the board, and they repeat new moon, festival, sanctuary, and so on around the outside of the board. I'm going to compress now how this part of the game works so that you can understand quickly, and then you can apply that to as many players as playing the game. And so we're going to just demonstrate different ways that the game may play out so you can get the idea quickly how the game is played. I land on a festival position on the outside of the board, and the person to my right draws a festival card and reads a question to me. Also, on top of the festival card, it reads Day of Atonement. And one of the goals of the game is to collect one of each of the festival cards. The Day of Atonement happens to come over here in the fall festivals, which is right here. And so if I answer this question true, I get to keep this card, and I've already achieved 1 out of 7 for a complete set of festival cards. If I answer this question incorrectly, I put it into the thank offering stack. Let's say I land on a sanctuary position. The person to my right takes a sanctuary card and asks me the question. If I answer it true or correctly, then I get to take my gemstone playing piece and move it from my camp into the first position of the courtyard, which is actually moving towards the tabernacle. If I answer that question incorrectly, I put this into the thank offering stack rather than the bottom of the sanctuary card stack. If I land on a new moon, the person to my right picks out a new moon card and reads me a question. If I answer that correctly, then I get a chance for some strategy. And the strategy is, I learned something here, however I can play again by answering it correctly, and if it's more advantageous for me to play a sanctuary card, I have the option, or I have the option to play a festival card. As the game progresses, sometimes it's a greater advantage to play one or the other, and so that's the value of the new moon option. And so the same thing is true if it's incorrect, you put it into the thank offering stack. If you answer it correctly, then you can choose which card you want to play and then put the new moon card back under that stack. And so there are a couple of other things I can point out at this time. If your number comes out so you land on a corner, it's self-explanatory. If you land on a picture place that's not the repeating sanctuary, festival, and new moon, for example, the Passover, you get to take a double turn. And that is true also Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of First Fruits, Pentecost, and Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, and either one of the Feast of Tabernacles. So that's the basis of how the game works, and we're going to pause it this time